Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to film today's video. It is the final closeout video for November, finally officially saying goodbye to the month of November. So today we're going to be talking about our November budget, where we spent our money, where did our money go? And I know it's sometimes crazy to reflect on the month and be like, what did we do with all of our money? Where did it go? So for that reason, this is one of my favorite videos to film because I feel like it really just gives me a good reflection point on the month. And typically before I film this video, I sit down with my husband and go over it with him as well. So this is usually my second run through of the month at a glance. So I feel like it's fun to reflect on the month, and November was actually a really great month. I'm really excited to share with you guys what we were able to do in November. We had some ups and downs. You know, we went over budget in some areas, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm always honest on these videos about where we're spending our money, and sometimes I have to check myself. And that's why these videos are really helpful, because I'm like, Amy, girl, get it together with this food, okay? As you can probably tell, that's where we went over budget. So frustrating. But these groceries, you guys, it's crazy. All right, let's get started with the income. So we had estimated income of $7,000, and that is what we received. We did not have any extra income from our day jobs this month. We also expected our child tax credit. We've been receiving that. It is $550. We have two kids, a 7-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and we did receive $550, so that was great. Nothing crazy there. And then the only other thing was our side hustle income. So I never budget anything for this, just because obviously side hustle income is never guaranteed, and it definitely fluctuates a lot for us every single month. So we did not budget for that, but we did receive $555. I talked more about that specifically in my November debt payoff update, so check that video out. I will link it if you are curious where that money came from, but that was an additional $550 for the month. So that brings our total income for the month of November to $8,105. So what the heck did we do with that money this month? Let's figure that out together. Obviously, I've already figured this out. So let's start with our fixed expenses. So our mortgage, we budgeted $1,284, and that amount was $1,284. That is not really a budget that fluctuates very much. We have had it increase once, I think, over the last couple of years, just because of like property taxes and stuff. So it does occasionally go up and down, but pretty stagnant for the most part. Then our cell phones. This is another budget that doesn't really change. $140 is what we pay right now. That was 1.7% of our income. Then we had Netflix for $15, which was $15. That came out of our account directly. That was at 0.2%. We had our Peloton membership. We do have a Peloton bike. We paid for it in full when we purchased it, so we never had a monthly payment for it, but we do pay for the membership every month, so that is $41. Then we had our internet. So I did want to talk about this because I know I talked about it in my last budget closeout, and I've talked about it periodically. We had one internet provider in our area. There's only 2 internet providers in our area, actually, that we can get. We live kind of rurally right now. We're like in a suburb kind of area, but it's a little bit more on like the rural side. So we have pretty limited options for internet. So we only have 2 providers. We've used both of them multiple times over the last 4 years that we've lived here. We've switched back and forth. And so our internet was going to be going up to $75 in December. And I was like, no, I'm not paying it. So I called the other internet provider in our area, and I was actually able to get the same rate. So we'll still pay $60. And I was able to get a bunch of like the Visa gift cards. Like, you know how some companies will give you like the, $200 bonus, but it's like on a Visa gift card. We were able to get like $300 worth of, or $300, I think. I'll insert the clip here. Posted it on Instagram, so you might have already seen it, but I'll insert it here. We were able to get like multiple $100s worth of like Visa gift cards for signing up for a new service. So that was really exciting. So I'm not anticipating this to go up in December, although it might be kind of weird with like the timing and stuff. So we'll have to see how that works out, but I'm really happy that we switched, because not only is our rate going to stay the same, but we also got some incentive for switching, and we actually got a better internet plan. So our internet is faster now, which is awesome. So really glad that I looked into that. Just another note that if you are like unhappy with your internet or cell phone or anything, look around, it doesn't hurt. And you never know, you might find a better deal somewhere else. So that is my internet saga. I will talk more about that next month. when we actually have like the switchover. I think we actually timed it pretty well with like, we had just paid our bill for our previous person when we canceled it. So I think that the transition will probably be pretty like equal. So I'm hoping that it'll just be $60, but it might be like a little bit different depending on the timing of the month and stuff. So more to come on that in December. So preschool for my daughter. So we had budgeted $524. We pay $131 a week, although we did just get notified that it's going up again in January because of all of the crazy inflation and stuff. So we will be paying a little bit more in January. More to come on that. But we had budgeted $524. However, I know I talked about in my November budget video that we were expecting to use credits in the month of November because I actually had a couple of days off in November that I was going to keep my daughter home, and we do get some like vacation credits, and I wanted to use those before the end of the year. So we actually only ended up paying $393. I used 2 days of credits to make that a little bit cheaper, which was awesome. So I got back 1 week basically, so $131. So that was really helpful for our budget. Then we had Disney Plus, which is an annual expense for us. I budgeted $75. I did not realize when I did that budget that the amount was actually going up. So it came in at $84. So that was kind of a bummer because it was over $9 what I had predicted, but that's okay. I just adjusted the budget and moved on. Then we had our electric bill. We've been doing really good on our electric lately. I'm super happy. I feel like we've been using less than ever. So we budgeted $200 and I spent $160 on electric this month, which gave us an additional $40 back into our budget, which was awesome. That was at 2% of our income. And then we also had our water bill. So this is a quarterly expense for us. So it's always like super variable. I did under budget by accident this time. I had just gone on what we had paid in November of 2020. Apparently we used less water. I budgeted $225. It was actually $248. So it was a little bit over budget, but that's okay. So that was 3.1%. Again, that is a quarterly expense, so we won't have that again for a few more months. Then we had our spending. So this is the spending money that my husband and I both get. We just get it in our like individual checking accounts. We don't track it or anything. It's just our like money for whatever we want. So we both get $50, which is $100 total. So that was 1.2%. Then we had our gas, which we actually did really good on gas this month. We really didn't go anywhere. It was like a pretty lame month for us, honestly. We didn't travel for Thanksgiving. We actually ended up hosting Thanksgiving at my house the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so that was really fun. But we really didn't go anywhere, so we only spent $58 on gas. We only filled up twice for the entire month, which was kind of cool. So that added another $67 into our budget. So we used to budget $100 for gas, and then like the gas prices, I don't know. Gas is one of those budgets where I feel like I'm always like off, but I don't know. I'm not mad. Like, I don't want to undercut our gas and then like be over. Gas is one of those budgets where like you can't like accidentally overspend. Like, it's not like food. Like, I could just go buy a bunch of random food and like go over budget. I can only fill my car up so much with gas. Like, I feel like it's not a budget that I'm like concerned about going over. So I guess I'd rather just have a larger budget for it. Anyways, I'm rambling, but that was just an interesting thing that I saw. Like, I feel like as soon as I raised our gas budget, we started not using it. I'm like, how does that work? I literally just raised it and then now we're not using it. But we do tend to travel a lot less in the fall and winter time. So I'm assuming that's definitely part of it, but you know, it is what it is. We also do need to fill my car up. So December will probably be a little bit heavier on the gas. I feel like that happens every few months. Like, I go pretty close to empty and then like the month ends and then the next month we have to pay more. So that is that. We budgeted $550 for groceries. Did we stick to this, you guys? Do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll give you a second. Absolutely not. We did not stick to this, but we were pretty close. So I'm actually really happy with how close we were. We were at $568, which is over $18, but you know, $18 is nothing. We also did host Thanksgiving. So that was an added expense that we were not anticipating originally. We were not going to be hosting Thanksgiving. Yeah. So we did spend a little bit more money. Although some of my family members did chip in. They brought some things. So we didn't have to like pay for the entire meal by ourselves, but still it was a little bit more expensive. I'm going to blame it on that and then just consider that we kind of stayed on budget. Is that okay? Okay, so miscellaneous, we actually did not spend a lot of this category this month, which is kind of unusual for us. I feel like we usually spend pretty close to our $200 budget. We spent $108 this month, which left us an additional $92 in our budget, which was awesome. We usually spend a lot more of this budget. Like I said, winter, like we just really don't leave our house as much. It's definitely more of like a chill time. I feel like our budget is a lot easier to stick to in the winter. In the summertime, like we're doing a bunch of different things and it's definitely a lot harder to stick to our budget in the summer. Winter, we're kind of like home and just hanging out at home. So definitely a little bit easier in the winter. And dining out, I am really proud of this. We have not been under budget in dining out in, I feel like, months at least. I'm not even going to go look because it'll be depressing, but budgeted $200. We were literally right under budget, $194. Could have gotten a breakfast sandwich or something with that extra $6, but instead we just left it in the budget. But I'm really proud of that because that is a budget that is really, really hard for us to stick to, especially because I'm pregnant. You guys, cooking is not it when I'm pregnant. I do not feel like it. I hate cooking. Yeah. So dining out is a category this month that I'm really proud of. We really were intentional with sticking to it. I tried to like really manage that budget really well. And so I'm super happy that we were under that budget. I'm hoping in December that we will also be under budget in dining out. Like I said, it's like a little bit easier in the winter for us because it's like really cold here. We live in Wisconsin if you are not familiar with my channel, but it's really, really cold here. And so like the thought of leaving the house to go get food, as much as I want to do that, like it's so cold that it doesn't sound appealing anymore. So yeah. That is that. So sinking funds, if you watched my November and December budgets, we've been definitely underfunding our sinking funds because we are definitely debt focused. So we did fund our sinking funds in November, but we did not fund them very heavily. So I will just give you a rundown here. Car, kids, home, Christmas and vacation. So we had budgeted $50 for each of these. And we put 50 in each. So nothing super exciting. That is what we ended up budgeting for. And then 0.6% is all of these. So and I'm almost out of room on my sheet, but the last section here is debt. Obviously, that is where like a bulk of our money goes. If you're new to my channel, we are on a debt-free journey paying off my student loans. So that is where a lot of our money is going. We were able to send $4,500 to debt this month, which is incredible. Super, super happy about that. And that was 55.52% of our income. So if you're new here, again, we do try to send 50% of our income to debt right now. That is just what we've been doing for the last like year, basically, of our journey. In the beginning of like 2020, we were not able to send as much to debt, but we have really cut down on our expenses significantly. And yeah, so we basically live on one income and send the other one to debt. So 50% is what we aim for. Obviously, all of our side hustle income goes to debt. So that always sways it a little bit because 100% of that income is going to debt. So 55%, I am really, really happy with that number. So let's go over our income, expenses, and difference because we did actually tap into our buffer a little bit. So I want to talk about that. So total income, like I said in the beginning, $8,105. Total expenses, so what actually left our bank account this month was $8,203, which leaves us with a difference of negative $98. So if you watched my budget closeout from last month, from October, I will link it in the corner if you want to go check it out. We added to our buffer. I think we were under budget by like $40 or $50. I can't remember offhand. So we had added to the buffer, and I kind of mentioned in that video that I would probably be draining the buffer closer to the end of the year when we're getting closer to, hopefully, fingers crossed, having our debt paid off this month, maybe. So we did intentionally decide to take money from our buffer. Our buffer typically is anywhere from like $400 to $600. It kind of fluctuates. I round off all of our numbers in our budget, and that kind of just helps us to like add to the buffer every month. And then, just ebbs and flows, like as we're under or over budget every single month, it either comes from the buffer or adds to the buffer. So I don't keep too close track of the buffer necessarily. I just make sure that like there is money in there just in case like something goes wrong. Like obviously our budget is far from perfect. Our numbers and our difference column, like we always have a lot of difference because, things change and how much money we're spending changes. So I just always want to make sure that we have a buffer, but we did intentionally decide to use it this month for the purposes of paying more towards debt at the end of the month. So that is my budget closeout for November. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know, do you close out your budget? How do you close out your budget? What is your end of the month routine? I would love to know, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys.